I'm currently having some leftovers from Thanksgiving today. After spending the past few hours working on the triangle ball polystyrene drawing project, drawing small triangles using almost entirely the black ultrafine Sharpie marker I have dedicated. For that purpose, for the black triangles, that make up the pattern, I've decided for the triangle ball polystyrene drawing project. I recall at one point having to replace the black ultrafine Sharpie marker with the new one that was part of an opened pack of black ultrafine Sharpie markers, as the old one seemed to run dry. Though at this time I'm not sure if it actually did go dry, or if it's just stopped working suddenly, and I just have to try later and it'll suddenly work again. I do this so that to get the ink, the marker going, so that there's marker on the ultrafine marker before I put it to the polystyrene ball. And I do this to get little bits off of the tip of the marker. It's a habit of mine. Perhaps maybe I could switch to doing that on paper towel. This stuffing, I recall, is gluten-free stuffing. Made by my mom. Making this homemade stuffing took at least 2 hours, from what I recall. I recall waking up and getting up for today around 9:30 in the morning. And my dad called me within 15 minutes of that. And I recall roughly from noon to 1:30 p.m., he took me and my sister primarily to visit his parents for Thanksgiving. Though this was just to visit. Dad first took us to his parents' place for us to visit his mom. Though I recall him taking a scenic route and getting there, I think to show my sister his current mail route. We visited Dad's mom at his parents' place. Where small talk was made. At the very start of the visit, I accepted a aluminum can of root beer, since Dad's mom offered it to me. And at a few points, she showed all of the beautiful stuff she has within a couple of downstairs rooms. Within her home. It was all pretty beautiful stuff. And also pretty interesting. Then Dad drove me and my sister to the nursing home where Dad's dad is currently staying. And Dad's mom drove herself there. In a separate car. During that visit, the four of us, made small talk and some conversation with each other while staying within my dad's room within the nursing home. After that visit, Dad drove me and my sister back to Mom's place. And I recall us having the Thanksgiving meal around 5 p.m. Prior to that, roughly around 2:45 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., I primarily had basically cracker sandwiches like these. After being told by my sister about the deviled eggs being ready, and they were eating them all in jest. So I went down to the living room from my room, but it turned out the deviled eggs weren't ready at that time. And they wouldn't really be ready until around 5 p.m. when we had the regular Thanksgiving meal. Though my mom forgot to bring them out at that time, so they weren't really brought out until around 8 p.m. When we had the 4 pies Mom made: cherry, apple crumble, pumpkin, and pecan. For dessert. With Ready Whip whole whipped cream. And even then, the deviled eggs were only brought out after we had our fill of the pie. I had a medium slice each from all of the pies. And I think out of the 4, the pecan was my favorite. Even though I had requested an apple pie in the days leading up to Thanksgiving. during that same period of time in which I had the cracker sandwiches, immediately afterward, my sister had me try the various cheeses we had. Bought and brought for Thanksgiving, and try each of the cheeses by themselves. Out of them all, roughly about a half dozen or so choices, the light Asiago was my favorite, as it seemed to have quite a bit of flavor to it. Followed by the Gouda, and then the Gouda for the same reason, plenty of flavor to it. And then I recall my third favorite being the dry cracker brand sharp cheddar cubes. The Gouda and Mount Asiago had been cut into cubes, while the sharp cheddar came pre-cut within its packaging. The Wegmans branded goat cheese and the Brie were pretty good cheeses too. I recall during times between the four of us eating together at this dining room table, me being up in my room, my dad and my sister being in the living room, and my mom being at the kitchen. While our TV in the living room was playing. That's what I recall, and at least following having the pie and deviled eggs, me, my dad, and my sister were all together at different points within the living room while football was playing. On the flat screen TV. And I was at my section at the area that's between the kitchen and the living room. Sitting on a sort of love seat or short sofa with the two glass end tables. One having my laptop on it, and the laptop being plugged in to a wall outlet to be kept charged. And the other glass end table being the section where I worked on the triangle ball polystyrene drawing project, with the project and the handful of Sharpie markers I've used thus far for the project, all being under a blank piece of polystyrene that may have been part of some kind of packaging. In order to protect the triangle ball polystyrene drawing project from sunlight. We shared some of this wine when we had the pie. But the wine was poured into plastic glasses, so it wasn't exactly easy to tell how much was a standard serving of wine. But at the time, I still did my best in regards to that. I recall it tasted pretty good, though today wasn't my first time trying this particular wine. I also recall having a cup of plain coffee roughly from 4:15 p.m. to about 4:45 p.m. One that my mom brewed for me, and then Dad brought it up to my room. I recall today increasing the number of beehives, first from 3 to 4, and then later on, hours later, from 4 to 5. That's what I recall, in an effort to ensure I always have enough honey to feed the bears that I raise and then sell on Oceania for profit. And I always make it 16, at least that's the plan for now. Essentially, I tried my best to collect honey whenever it's available at the beehives, and whenever, despite doing that, I get a notification that I don't have enough honey when I attempt to feed all the bears at once. I simply increase the number of beehives by 1. It takes almost no mental effort on my part in regards to this game to build a new beehive where I am currently. It used to take some mental effort, but not that much when I was at the point where beehives was a new concept on this game for me, but not at this time. On One Among Zombies, I'm currently grinding campaign missions that are pretty close to the edge of what I'm capable of currently. Grinding for the materials I need to craft this, and this, all of which I feel would be improvements to the equipment I have currently. As for the reinforced armor plate, it would essentially be sacrificing 15 health for 4 armor, which, for me at least, at this time would probably be worth it. Especially if the next potential suit, it gives me more health than the one I have currently.